Hello everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. I hope you guys are well and in very good health. If you're new to my channel, please subscribe for more cricket analysis, sometimes old matches, and for some random content. So folks, the last week's Trinidad leg of CPL turned out to be very dramatic, exciting, and of course two teams booking playoff tickets. As the final leg of CPL moves to Guyana, this week's set of matches at Providence will determine the last two teams who have to book their playoff tickets. So far, the Trinidad Knight Riders and the Guyana Amazon Warriors have been the only two teams that have booked their spots into the playoffs and have certainly gotten their top two, which means that both TKR and Amazon have two bites of the cherry to get into the finals. But before I get into all of that, I also want to call out one certain politician. Now, I'm not a guy who likes to talk politics at all, but let me just say this. I was reading an article via Facebook recently, and according to the article, it says that a former police commissioner who is now a political leader of a political party here in Trinidad and Tobago, who I used to respect a lot while he was top cop, said that when he gets into government, which I know for a fact is not going to be happening anytime soon, he said that Trinidad will try to get playoffs and the finals. Let me just call him out. I'm talking about former police commissioner Gary Griffith. According to 360 TV Trinidad and Tobago, NTA leader Gary Griffith promises to secure Trinidad and Tobago the semi-finals, the three playoff games, and the finals once his party gets into power in 2025 or earlier. Now let me just say this, and let me put it on the public record. For God's sake, Gary Griffith is again attempting to gaslight Trinidad and Tobago with promises. Now let me remind him, when he was Minister of National Security under the Kamala Prasad Bisesa People's Partnership tenure, that was between 2010 to 2015, Trinidad hosted two CPL finals. That was the inaugural edition in 2013 and the third edition in 2015. Compared to the current PNM Rowley administration, where Trinidad hosted four consecutive CPL finals between 2017 to 2020. Furthermore, let me also add, it is Cricket West Indies and the Caribbean Premier League organizers that makes the decisions where the matches, the playoffs and the finals are being held, not the government of any political party or country whatsoever. So my advice to Mr. Gary Griffith is, please back off. And furthermore, let me also state this: he was the only spectator that was at the games in 2020 when he was top cup, when they had made it abundantly clear that no fans were allowed inside of the stadium. That was in the midst of the COVID-19 pandemic and the partial lockdown that was happening in Trinidad and Tobago at that time, while everyone else was home watching all of the games. And that was the season where TKR went all the way undefeated. There's a possibility that Amazon might go all the way undefeated with the way how they're playing, but we will get to that momentarily. So ladies and gentlemen, and furthermore, I would like to also add, I would like to see other islands in the future get to host finals other than Trinidad, Guyana and St. Kitts. Now, Trinidad has hosted 6 CPL finals compared to St. Kitts that hosted 3 finals in 2014, 2016 and 2021. This is Guyana's second year in hosting the playoffs and the finals. And let me just say this: both Trinidad and Guyana are the only two countries in the Caribbean that takes cricket very seriously when it comes to crowd support and the sport in general, unlike other countries that hardly get good crowd turnouts. We saw some good crowd turnouts in St. Lucia and St. Kitts. Barbados, I believe, was also sellout too, so they're also third as well. So coming back to the cricket now, TKR won 3 out of the 4 games at home to secure playoff spot. Now they will finish second place compared to Guyana Amazon Warriors, who will finish at the top now, meaning that both the sides will have 2 bites of the cherry. And considering the fact that Amazon Warriors are still undefeated with 3 games left to play at home, and they have not lost a game, they have won 6 games, 1 no result in St. Lucia due to the rain. And I must say, it is looking very spicy for next week Sunday's possible curry chicken versus chicken curry final in Guyana. And we all know how Trinis and Guyanese like to fight over who chicken is the best. If you're a TKR fan, the only issue that we have is the top order, despite the fact that 2 of the batters, Nicholas Puran and Martin Guptill, are the 2 batters that are a part of the leading run scoring group alongside Guyana Amazon Warriors. I am the Pakistani. Even though Puran and Guptill and Dial have been inconsistent throughout the season, all 3 have done brilliantly well at times when the team needed it. Guptill scored a century in Barbados, scored a half century at the Brian Lara Academy on Saturday in Taruba, and also Puran has scored a couple of half centuries and that blistering 100 last week Wednesday at the Queen's Park Oval, in which I had the pleasure of attending with my mom's friend. So nevertheless, at times, when the team needs it, they come out firing. Mark Dial scored a half century in the last home game against the St. Lucia Kings. Overall, not only the top order has been inconsistent but have managed to score when the team needed it, the middle order batters, like the likes of Lucan Tucker, the Irishman, who is no longer available for the tournament starting this week due to international commitments for Ireland. That's against England. I think that starts next week. He has scored some of the runs in the middle order, or should I say scored crucial runs at the middle order, and has played the anchor role. If I recall a game last week, Akil Hussain also was promoted up the order and did play an anchor role similar to Lucan Tucker on 1 or 2 occasions. But overall, other than the middle order, there has been brilliance in the back end of the innings from the likes of Captain Pollard and Andrew Russell, who have blasted the bowlers to orbit despite inconsistency in the back end. But nevertheless, when it comes to the dead stages, they always come all guns blazing. As far as the bowling is concerned for TKR, that has not been the issue, whatever the case, despite that slip up last week Tuesday against Guyana Amazon Warriors, where the fielders did let them down. I believe we had dropped 5-6 catches against Amazon. But overall, the bowling has been top notch. Same can be said for Amazon too. I'm not taking that away whatsoever. But the breakout star for TKR has to be Afghanistan's left arm wrist spinner Wakam Solanki. The left arm spinner took 9 wickets at an economy rate of 6.36 runs per wicket, while veterans Andrew Russell and Sunil Narang have also been a part of that wicket taking list too. They're currently second and third on the list respectively, with 11 and 10 wickets apiece, despite their economy rate being a little bit expensive than Waqar Solanki. As far as Amazon Warriors are concerned, they don't have to beat up now. They can rotate its players due to the fact that they have made the playoffs and have 3 home games coming. But according to the head coach Lance Krusner, they don't want to change the winning team. Now let me just remind them, if you have seen what happened with the Pakistani men's team within the last year or two, whenever they don't change the winning team, there are times where they have messed up. We saw that in the Asia Cup T20 last year in UAE. We've seen that in the World T20 the year before in at the same venue. Amazon, my advice them, they cannot make that same mistake that the Pakistan men's team have made in that occasion at that time. So overall, two of the real reasons why Amazon are a bit like TKR minus the slip ups they've had in the past. They're not only red hot favorites for the title, that's one, but two, just like TKR, Amazon has two bites of the cherry to get into that final. But the difference here, they have the crowd support at home because they are at home now, and a lot of their fans will be coming out to root them on. But they gotta be careful of that dreading choking that they have committed in the past. Every time when they have lost in knockout games, they always get trolled on social media, similar to TKR in the past as well too. So they can be unpredictable, but anything can happen on the day. But Amazon this year could well be the year they go all the way. And furthermore, I must admit they've covered all of the bases. I was talking about Pakistan, Sam Ayam, who in my view will open for the Pakistani men's team soon in the white ball format, most likely after the World Cup or for next year's World T20 in the Caribbean and the US. He has been the main breakout star for Warrior Nation. I think he's 21 or 22 years of age now. But that lad, let me say, has got a bright future ahead of him. So far this season, he's the leading run scorer throughout the competition with 288 runs at an average of exact 48, 3 half centuries. And furthermore, let me say this, he has shown a lot of maturity out of all of the Pakistani stars taking part in this year's CPL. There's another one that has done that as well, Imab Wasim, though he's been inconsistent with the bat, but has come good with that in crucial times. But with the ball, he's very devastating, but we haven't seen much of that. But hopefully, I would like to see both Sam Ayam and Imab in the T20 side for T20 World Cup next year. God's willing, or as what they say, Allah ul Akbar. But let me also add, whatever happens to Amazon Warriors for the rest of CPL, he is one of my main candidates for player of the tournament due to his splendid run of form and the contributions he has made with the bat. And I have some of my favorite moments from last week's Trinidad's leg. One, Azam Khan's stunning one-handed catch to dismiss Nicholas Puran behind the stumps. Two, Sam Ayam's superb 62 in that same game against TKR where he had a couple of lifelines. Three, Nicholas Puran's mind-blowing century against the Barbados Royals in that match which I attended. I was also on television as well. Four, that last over from Gudakish Moti against the Barbados Royals a few days ago when they had to defend 6 of the last over, in which they only conceded 2 runs and Amazon won by 3 runs. Also, I must add, I find Ali Khan has bowled very well for TKR. That 3-wicket hole he took against the Talawas on Saturday. And also for the record, I think it was Martin Guptill's half century, I think it was against either Talawas or St. Lucia, where we had gotten over the line. But I beg your pardon, it was against the Talawas. But Mark Dial's 57 against the Kings, that got us over the line and that top 2. And I cannot also forget Colin Monroe as well, who is in blue this year for the St. Lucia Stars. He was drafted in for the injured Faf du Plessis. He made 70 odd of 50 something deliveries with 6 boundaries and 3 sixes. But the strike rate I was concerned about. The strike rate was less than 150, and normally in T20s batters would accelerate very quickly. I find that strike rate did let down the Stars, but overall coming back to TKR, not only Ali Khan has done well with the ball, but also the spinners too, which are gonna be triple threat, just like Amazon at home when it comes to that return leg for that curry chicken curry match. And hopefully, I hopefully see that TKR gets revenge. I do hope, but with that crowd support that Amazon has, anything can happen. So with all of that being said about the Trinidad leg, I'm gonna wrap up this video. I hope you guys stay well and stay safe. The next video that I would like to touch on is the Asia Cup, because Pakistan and Sri Lanka now are in a virtual semi-final position. That's because Bangladesh have been knocked out. India won 2 games in 48 hours to get into the final. Remember, the India-Pakistan game had to be played over 2 days because of the weather, and India won that by a massive margin of 228 runs. And they defeated Sri Lanka despite surviving that scare from that left arm spinner whose name is very hard to pronounce. But in the next video I will talk about Asia Cup and also talk about the time last year where I met Nicholas Puran, Colin Monroe, and a few of the Night Riders players. So hopefully that next video I will touch on that and share it with you guys. So until then folks, peace out, we're out of here, catch you later.